Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for sparing amount of time and to speak with us and share with us what's happening between Belgium and Uganda. Well, Your Excellency, I would like to begin with skilling Uganda and how far you've gone in terms of contributing towards developing the younger generation into employable citizens in the future.
We have been working together with the Ugandan government in their strategy of skilling Uganda to see how we best can skill the young people so that to make them ready for the labor market and to avoid that there is a mismatch between what the private sector needs and what is actually taught in the schools or in the vocational training institutes.
You also, when the president was also in Brussels, you also touched something about refugees, and you're also the ambassador to South Sudan. Why do you think the conflict can never be resolved? Why do you think the guns can never be silenced in South Sudan?
Well, I think our country is very worried about the ongoing situation in South Sudan. As you know, from the 12 million inhabitants, 2 million have actually fled the country, of which 1 million are in Uganda right now. Another 2 million are displaced, so actually 1/3 of the population is on the run. We also need, and we all know that we need to address the root causes of the conflict, because having refugees over here and what Uganda has done, bringing the refugees in, not closing the borders, not building walls, is extremely commendable, and the solidarity shown is quite unique in the world, I think. But it is not a solution in the long term. They might be here for quite a long time because the solution or solving the conflict in South Sudan will not happen tomorrow. But we all have to try to work on this and to make it possible. Now there is a revitalization forum which is ongoing to try to bring the different parties together. I don't think the EU can solve it or the UN. It is actually the country itself who has to take the responsibility, the political class there.
The President recently visited Brussels, that is in Belgium. And what was the purpose of his visit? Could you just share with us why he went there, whom he met, and how long he was there?
The main purpose for the trip was he is now the chair of the East African community, and he got a mandate from the other East African countries to go to negotiate with the European Union on the APA, Economic Partnership Agreement, which should be signed between the two regions. This European Partnership Agreement would be very beneficial for both parties, but especially also for the countries within the East African community, because it would actually make it easier to import goods, to export goods to Europe, etc., to get rid of all possible obstacles, barriers, etc. Now there is some, we are totally ready from the European Union side, but not every country within the East African community is at the moment willing to sign this economic partnership agreement. Now, Uganda is in favor of it, but there are two countries at this moment, namely Tanzania and Burundi, who are a little bit reluctant. Mainly some regional issues were touched. As you know, we talked already shortly about South Sudan, but also in Burundi and DRC, the political situation is very fragile. And we wanted to have the point of view of Uganda and also to see in which way we can work together to avoid that those conflicts or potential conflicts would go out of hand.
Just recently, the EU delegation, including you, visited the Prime Minister Hakana Rugunda. What was your agenda, and what did you reach at?
Of course, we do notice that there is some tension in the country following this initiative for taking away the age limit in the constitution. we are concerned in the sense that maybe for three reasons. First of all, there are of course some freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom of gathering are some values which are very important for the European Union. And when we see that those are infringed, for example, if some NGOs are raided, then we are concerned, and we did express concern as a EU with a statement. Second of all, we do believe that dialogue is always the best way to move forward, especially when we talk about issues of very important national developments, which are very fundamental for the country. I think the best way to move forward is to have an inclusive and open dialogue, and we support that everywhere in the world, and we also support that in our own country. So mediation is really something we believe strong in. And the third point I want to make is the reputation of the country, of course. Indeed, there is an economic mission coming here, but if some things come in the news internationally, which it did over the last couple of weeks, it does affect the reputation of the country. It does affect the belief for foreign investors that Uganda is a stable country and will stay so in the foreseeable future.
Because Uganda is a democratic country, and many democracies in EU we admire. What would be your position concerning the constitution and whether it should be amended or it should not be amended?
We don't have an opinion about what the best way of action is, as long or whether there should be an age limit or not. There are a lot of countries who don't have an age limit. So this is really not something we have an opinion about, honestly. But we always think dialogue is the best, and let's try to have a context in which dialogue can thrive.
It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to hear me out. Thank you.